is not an issue today. Whether your friends are in the highest of the highest office, whether your friends are majority of some people, whether you come from a certain part of the country, you cannot use some of us as human shield. You must tell Kenyans how your sisters and your relatives went to basements and collected millions of shillings of public funds. You have touched a live wire. In fact, I will go for Anne Waiguru starting today. I will go on a sabbatical leave from court, from the Kericho by-election, and from the Banindi by-election, and I am ready to deal with one woman who stole millions of shillings and now has a psychiatric condition looking for anyone on site as a human shield instead of looking for the best lawyer in town.
All right, now that is the latest twist in that multi-million shilling NYS scandal going on. But let's just take a look at what was contained in that affidavit, the tell-all affidavit by former CS Anne Waiguru. If we could just have that up on the screen, the super wall there. Anne Waiguru now bringing out an affidavit which is implicating leaders allied to Deputy President William Ruto. Now, affidavit now drags Aden Duale, Kipchumba Murkomen, and William Ruto's aide Farouk Kibet in the scandal. According to that affidavit, Duale, Murkomen and Farouk Kibet worked behind the scenes to perpetuate the NYS scandal, using their political influence in that scandal to sort of influence the payments that were being made in the NYS scandal. And if we could move on to the next slide, we see former CS Anne Waiguru bringing out where exactly these problems started. So these three are said to have used their political influence to have payments made to companies associated with them for work that was in some instances not done, or in other instances the work was done but the costs of the materials were inflated. We had an issue a while back of Anne Waiguru buying pens costing 8,000 shillings per pen, and that is just an example of the inflated costs of materials that were being put out in the NYS saga. Now, according to the affidavit by Anne Waiguru, the trio mentioned here worked in cahoots with former NYS Director Nelson Githinji, as well as former Devolution and National Planning Secretary Peter Githinji at the time. Now, if we move on, we see Waiguru now telling us exactly how the problem started. Waiguru says that after she changed the Deputy General of the NYS from Githinji to Aden Harakhe, then intimidation began, because then this arrangement had distorted the planned to steal the planned millions in the NYS scandal. Let's just cross over now to our City Center studios. Our reporter Patrick Amimo is on standby. Amimo, good afternoon. There seems to be an interesting trend here of affidavits being brought forward, but what is the latest, what is the political implication of that latest affidavit by former CS Anne Waiguru?
Indeed, thank you so much, Michelle. You see this after former Devolution Cabinet Secretary Anne Waiguru saw her affidavit yesterday. It's causing political ripples. You see, in her affidavit, she specifically focused on people who are assumed to be close allies of Deputy President William Samoei Arap Ruto. And among them is the leader of majority in the National Assembly, Aden Duale, who says is the number 3 in the government when it comes to the pecking order. And he says that Duale intimidated one of the officers who was a deputy director at the NYS, that is Aden Harakhe, telling him that he needs to get political support from leaders of the northeastern region, given that Duale, according to Harakhe, says that he texted him and told him that he needs to get support from political leadership in Northeastern Province, which was all in URP. And he told them to be very, very careful against the other side of the opposition, that is the TNA, so to be careful so that he's not used by the other side, which is in this case to be TNA, so that after he's used, then he'll be dumped. So Duale was in the text, Harakhe claims that Duale wanted to seek his political support so that he knows that this is a political government. So he was to play along, and that's why now he had to bring in, Duale wanted to bring him closer so that in case of anything, then the URP wing of government will have to protect it, to defend him. And in the same affidavit also, in the same letter where Waiguru said, accusations by Harakhe says that Deputy Majority Leader in the Senate, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, also did call him and sought some favors from him, asking him to lift the freeze that had been been imposed on those suppliers of NYS who had been implicated in the 791 billion shilling scandal. And some of them were Ben Gethi, who is who says that according to this particular affidavit, Waiguru's affidavit says had close telephone conversations lasting about 180 minutes with William Ruto's personal assistant, that is Farouk Kibet, with regard to NYS purchases or supplies to these particular businessmen, but whose businesses had been stopped or frozen by the Director of Criminal Investigations to await investigations. So Murkomen was asking Harakhe to go slow on this particular issue. So the import of this is that by Waiguru bringing in the URP wing in this particular matter, it's like he'll be causing a division between URP and TNA, which matter that Aden Duale is well aware of, and he says that they will fight politically this particular issue, and says that they are very much aware that Waiguru is trying to introduce a diversionary tactic by bringing in the other side of the coalition. But then, if I might bring you up to speed, this is not the first time that you're having at least friction between URP and TNA. Remember last year when we had this particular issue of an impeachment motion against Anne Waiguru, there was allegation. Waiguru then claimed that that particular motion, Alfred Keter, the Nandi Hills lawmaker, was being sponsored by one Margaret Keter, who was the chief of staff at the office of the Deputy President William Ruto. Ever since Marianne Keitanye was suspended from office, and in fact she's not back in office after the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission took over the matter, having been after Waiguru claimed that she used about 100 million shillings to bribe members of parliament to fix her during that particular impeachment motion. So it is a matter that we can see if we reflect back and look at last year. We see maybe the genesis also starting in last year, where Waiguru was also targeting the office of the Deputy President, some stuff there. And this time around, as in this particular affidavit, she's also targeting, she's brought in Duale, Murkomen. There is also this Farouk is still in here. So this is something that we'll see how it will pan out, the war between, the divide between URP and TNA. But remember, what we are dealing here is corruption, and we should not allow political shenanigans to divert our attention. Already, like earlier on, we had spoken with the Minister for Nandi Hills, the MP for Nandi Hills, Alfred Keter, and he said the Director of Public Prosecutions should take over the matter and ensure that all those mentioned record statements, and if found culpable, then they should be punished. Michelle?
All right, thank you very much, Patrick Amimo, there from our City Center studios.